situations happening in your life, always be still. Don't overreact. Most of the people that I know, they say, oh, I know Jesus. I love Jesus. I'm an observer. And as soon as something don't go their way, they get mad. I'm like, what the? If you overreact, folks, remember to do that. Don't overreact. And when you get mad, it's your problem. It ain't your wife's problem, your husband's problem, your neighbor, your friend, your preacher, your teacher. It's your problem. Why you think you tick? It didn't go your way or the way you think it should go. Don't have a way you think it should go. Let life just happen. Thoughts make you think that life should go the way you want it to go. And if it doesn't, if someone don't do or say or act the way you think they should act, you hate them. And then you blame them for being mad. It's the darndest thing I ever seen. But it's amazing to see it. So relax. Other than sex, I wonder, why would a man even need a woman today? Women don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They're in competition with men. They don't want to be wives and mothers. Some want to get married, but they don't want to live in that proper position of life. Because the only purpose of marriage is to have a family. And that's been known forever. And so if you don't want to have children, there is no need to get married. And so I was wondering, why would a man even get married today? I never thought I'd see the day when women would come out of her natural role and be like a man. Even though she hate that role. When she's with a man that's weak, she hate him. But if he try to be strong, she'll stop it. I never imagined that. You're seeing good destroyed and abnormal is presented as normal. Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby. You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Appreciate you being with me today on this fine Monday. It's a pleasure as always. Welcome. Oh, look at that snazzy little background. How about we do that? American Anchor Baby coming at you Monday morning. Well, lunchtime now, and I appreciate everybody who was with me over the weekend. Friday, some say it was a landing. It was a landing. We can all agree it was a landing. It was a landing, and we lived. It was an amazing show. Thank you for everyone who bought first-class tickets. We were truly balled out, as they say. Something like that. Okay, ballers, thank you so much, everybody who's donated and supported, who bought first-class tickets. You're wondering, what's a first-class ticket? You mean I can have a first-class experience on a Friday with the Anchor Baby? Yes, you can. So those who joined me, thank you for that. Nice flight, nice show. We love it. We love it. Thank you. And everybody rolling in from Joel's chat, thank you so much. About to get going here. We got war on our mind. I know it's boring maybe a little bit. But we also got, look, the Access tape, they're still talking about it. And we're going to get into amazing things. Okay. Amazing things. So, let's get into it. You could call into 888-775-3773. If you want to call in, speak to your host, the American Anchor Baby. Activists everywhere. Some call me an activist, maybe. They're like, what? You get to be an activist. You get to talk. Yeah. Okay. I don't know why it was thrust upon me like this. Some may disagree what I'm allowed to be doing here, but you're tuning into my show, okay? And we're going to talk about it a little bit. Allow me to be an activist a little bit. But please, folks, ladies and gentlemen, my viewers, my supporters, even my enemies who may be quicker to show me love in this respect than my fans, so to speak. Please show me love and tell me if I'm ever acting like this person, this activist. If I'm ever an activist like this, please reach out to me out of love. And if I feel ego pain over it, so be it. Let me feel the pain. Let me go through it. And I don't mean an activist like these people, okay? Elder, Peterson, West, Swain, and Kane. We like a couple of those. We like those names. We like all those names. I don't know all of them, to be honest with you. I know the top two much, I know them better than the other names. But not like these, like this activist. Let me show you a little video here. Please, folks, show me some love. If I'm ever an activist at these heights of your life, I've said it before, there's obviously not a groundbreaking take, but there are stages to life. There are stages. There's a time and place for everything. And when you're at these heights of life, look, let's just watch the footage, okay? Nick, shut up and show the video. Let me just be extra mindful for our viewers here. Because they're yelling, these activists. Well, there's some it's singing, maybe. Let's watch this beautiful footage.
Trump is not above the law. Trump is not above the law. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. Trump is not above the law. Trump is not above the law. No one is above the law. No one is above the law.
No one.
Trump is not above the law. Trump is not above the law. No one
See, this guy in the front is kind of leading things, no?
is above the law. No one is above the law. Trump is not above the law.
It sounds spiritual. It sounds so, maybe for some, it depends. Some don't like the, Are you guys going to get mad at me? Negro spiritual? Are you guys getting that feeling, or am I being ignorant? Am I being totally ignorant? It's got that chain gang feel. This is an American protest. This is a American protest. You're not hearing Magbar America, Magbar Israel. No, this is an American protest. Nice. And it's got a little bit of that church feel, don't you think? Trump is not above the law. It's that cadence. The guy who's leading, he's got the right cadence there. You know what I mean? Everybody responds, but the guy who's leading is like starts that first syllable a half a beat early, leading the way. Somebody please tell his fellow compatriots here how to protest. Maybe leave the Negro spiritual leading protests. Leave it to the man who's clearly an expert, who's clearly got the right. Because the people who he's beside, it sounds like they butt in when he starts it off, right? He's like, Trump, and then they say Trump, and then the response, a little clunky. Fellow protesters of this black man whose shirt reads, "Activism is my religion." Activism is my religion.
No one is above the law. No one is above the law. Trump is not
You're right,
above the law.
Birdie Bound Brian. What am I talking about? This is drill sergeant all over it. Here I am, like, giving it like a black flavor. Maybe it's a little churchy. I don't know. But this is drill sergeant, 100%. Yeah. That's what it is. It's Army. Sorry, folks. It's a military cadence. No, 100%. That's what I meant. That's what I was like, I knew it like spoke to something. That's what it is. So please, whoever does not get the picture, who's not getting the message, the drill sergeant leads it, and then you respond.
Trump is not above.
You see these, and I'm glad the video stops here, because obviously now you know what they're protesting about. They don't want Trump above the law. Election interference is a crime. This person's this male. Look at these people. His sweater there says Trump is a traitor. Okay, election interference is a crime. That's an statement. It's just a statement. I guess you put a little picture of there implying that Trump is he's committed this offense. Is that what Is that what your sign is implying, sir? Or are you too weak in your accusation, just like the people, the so-called people trying to charge Trump? Notice he hasn't quite had the charge. Wait, I could be wrong about this. I don't want to give you fake news, but I believe he specifically has not been charged with this. We're doing a little live. This is horrible. A little live news, okay? Because you know what? We'll have to look into that. But look, the sign beside it, slept with a sporn star. Maybe that's not that's not much better. Maybe that's not much better. We're gonna work on the euphemisms here. Screwed the voter. So I don't know. These people are yelling about something. I don't know if they really know what they're talking about. I wonder if they know what the heck they're saying. And this guy who says, activism is my religion, folks. If you ever see me with a shirt like this, don't you think there are stages to life? You know what I mean? By stages, you know what I'm trying to say? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Just so you know what the heck I'm talking about. Wait, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I feel lost. I know how to use this gear. I know how to use this technology. I'm feeling out of my depth. Okay, here we go. Ignore that, folks. I wanted to show you zoom in on that guy. Activism is my religion, please. When you get to a certain height in life, I don't know if you should be acting like this. That's all I'm trying to say. Seems a little silly, don't you think? Trump is not above the law. You got to mature a little bit. You know, maybe you fight in a certain time in life. Maybe there's a time in life where you're like,
no one is above the law.
Out there yelling, no one is above the law. Maybe you have a different fight. Maybe you have a different mission, and you're out there fighting for abortion or against it, or fighting for this or that. But don't you think at some point you got to grow up? You got to grow up. All this fighting isn't doing anything. And look at these young people. These young people who are supposed to, you see all these older people who are into their activism, their religion. And they inculcate these young people into their same hate. And these young people, what they don't know, what they don't realize, is that although they may identify with some of these older people in some of their gripes, and they may have their factual justification in a sense, but they don't realize that they're looking at the results of this. They're looking at the older generation that has not, the angry people that protested and nothing happened. You want to go down that same path? Have some self-awareness. Don't you know the same path? What if you tear the mask off, young people listening, if there's anyone listening, the path they were on, any of these activists, these people who take these identities on, the fruits that bear nothing, first of all. Second of all, because the road is hate, the road is anger. Okay, they hated what they fought against, and so they too walked down the same road. You get it? Okay. Activists. Activism. Mad about the hush money case. That's what they're talking about. It's on the news. Trump hush money trial begins in New York. They got the live updates. They got the timeline. And I appreciate AP News. This is a pretty snazzy website. They don't do this for every story. I know this is a big story, so I appreciate the timeline and all that, but they don't do that for every story. AP News. So you can be informed. The former president is accused of falsifying internal Trump organization records as part of a scheme to bury damaging stories that he feared could hurt his 2016 campaign, particularly as Trump's reputation was suffering at the time from comments he made about women. The Access Hollywood tape. They keep bringing it up. They won't let him live it down. What did he even say in that tape? You remember. Grab him by the... They let you, he said. They let you. It's really a story of consent. The man is a... It's really the Access Hollywood tapes. I really hope, and I do think a lot of America sees it. At least not for what the media tries to tell you. I think most people do. Come on. At least the fellas, right? Okay. It's a story of consent. It's a story of a man adored by women who respects consent. Okay, Trump hush money. Look, the allegations focus on payoffs to two women. We're working on the euphemisms. Scorn actor Stormy Daniels and Playboy model Karen McDougal, who said they had extramarital sexual encounters with Trump years earlier, as well as to a Trump Tower doorman who claimed to have a story about a child he alleged Trump had out of wedlock. Trump says none of these supposed sexual encounters occurred. You know that all these things, if you don't already kind of see it this way, I guess, I don't know, there's no really convincing you. But these are all like to get at Trump. This is not about justice. This is not about no one is above the law. This is about Trump and going after him, stopping him from being president, all those kinds of things, despite so many wanting him to be president. Putting into question all things America, all things we grew up thinking about America. Democracy, land of the free. You get it. You get it. You're here with me, right? You're watching. You're paying attention, right? Anyways. So they're going after, you get it. This is going after him. And my personal theory on the hush money stuff with these dirty video actresses. My personal theory is I think they're trying to cause a rift, cause discord amongst, this is like such a, what I'm trying to say is this is such a nasty case to bring up. If you were someone who cared about the law, you'd, I guess, go after him for other things. And that's just my opinion and really not important. What I'm trying to say here is that I think they're trying to sow discord amongst Trump and his wife. And it's really not about justice. It's my personal opinion that this particular case, and the 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 case, was, of course, trying to tarnish his reputation, make him look like a misogynist, he hates women, all that stuff, but also kind of a target to his family, and because it's these allegations of extramarital, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what to tell you. It's just not their place, not their business. It's all evil. It's not even about them caring about the Melania. They don't care about Melania and the truth. They shouldn't be a cheater. He shouldn't. They don't care about any of those things. And this Access Hollywood tape keeps coming up. I'm amazed that I'm a layman. Maybe I'm ignorant. I don't know anything about law, maybe. And maybe because someone could call in and inform me. But the fact that the Access tape is even, I don't know how the law works, right? I'm thinking a judge or a jury or someone else, somewhere in the chain here, somewhere in the judicial process, there is someone or a group of people that can look at the Access Hollywood tape, the tape where Trump was caught in some locker room talking about how women throw themselves at you, which is just true. He did not lie. I'm thinking somewhere in this chain, in this judicial process, there's someone with the power to say, well, this is just not evidence. This doesn't even have anything to do with the 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 case. Did you know that it was used as evidence in the 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 case? Did you know this Access Hollywood tape was used as evidence in this hush money case? Like, I'm just trying to picture how that's supposed to work. Like, let's try to break that down. I'm the prosecution, and I'm like, so this guy, Trump, he thinks he's the president. He's above it all. I'm the president. You can't talk to me like that. He thinks he's above it all. He can go around sexually assaulting 𝒔𝒐𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. And by the way, did you hear that Access Hollywood tape? Imagine that. Wait, that doesn't make, hold on. This is a court of law. That doesn't quite make sense. That's a different thing. How's that evidence? So I maybe don't understand if someone can call me and correct me on this, but doesn't that prove that the judicial system is a joke? Jury of your peers. There's people saying, if you're in New York, it's the patriotic thing to do to get on that jury and I forget what the person said, but to cause a hung jury, meaning, you just, you say this whole thing is unjust, and no, I vote against convicting or whatever. And there was someone, it was like Representative Eric Swalwell. Was it Swalwell? I believe it was Eric Swalwell. And he retweeted that person's tweet, and he's like, "Look, this is a felony. This is tampering with the jury. Tampering with the jury. I just showed you, judicial system is a joke. Jury of your peers. So your peers are happy to convict you if they think it's political. We saw that with the O.J. Simpson stuff. These jurors that came out saying, "Oh yeah, it was totally racial. This is beyond O.J. Simpson. This is beyond that. This is about America, and this is about racism." That's your jury of your peers. And to call that jury tampering, okay, it's a hung jury, okay? You're allowed to go, be the jury and believe what you believe. That's what you're allowed to do. And if it's a hung jury, they'll try it again, Eric Swalwell, these are people in government. Is he still in government? Swalwell is an American lawyer and politician serving as the U.S. representative for California's 14th Congressional District. Okay. You know him. I think wasn't he the one with the funny stuff? The Chinese funny stuff? Fan? That's neither here nor there. But where were we? That's the stuff on the hush money. They call it hush money. They're calling it that. I'm not calling it that. But if you take hush money, doesn't this put into question everything you say? You take hush money. I'm not the first one saying this. I'm not the only one saying this. But hey, you take hush money, and you're going to go against. You went against your word. You can't believe a word. You can't believe a word these women say. Nick, you are neglecting the public is also a court itself. Yeah, it totally is. What am I neglecting here, Thomas? But where were we? Let's keep it moving here. I'll see if I can pay attention to the chat. And you can call in 888-775-3773. Oh, I think I know what you mean, Thomas. I mean, I'm just being this idealistic with a little glint in my eye. That's not justice. You can't use that tape, but totally, I understand why evil would want to use that tape so that you can, because you're adding to my point. I appreciate that, Thomas. It's like, this is your jury of your peers. Your peers are robots and women. And they see a video of the Access Hollywood tape where Trump is saying, you got to grab him by the, and this is a case that has nothing to do with that. And they'll look at that and be like, oh my gosh, yeah, he probably did. He probably did sexually assault that woman just because she said it. Because I looked at this tape complete. Anyways, you already made my point, Thomas. I'm just bloviating and killing time, as they say. Appreciate that. They're protesting. You know it. Above the law. No one's above the law. Except for people who are angry about genocides. They're calling it a genocide. It's got a little swang to it. Don't get mad at me. These are apparently protesters. Chicago O'Hare, they're not letting them fly. They're saying they are, well, apparently now traffic has resumed. Pro-Palestinian protesters blocking the roadway, entering into Terminal 1 at O'Hare Airport. You see even in the video, I think, people are walking. They're just walking to the airport. Like, I can't miss my flight. I know they're killing baby. Look. I don't care that they're barbecuing babies. Okay, I got a flight to catch. I'm putting words in their mouth. I'm being silly on my show. Anyways, they're walking, they're getting their flights, and they're there protesting. Honestly, this should be ended right away. I'm just thinking as a city manager kind of person, taking the politics out of it. If I was police, this is just egregious. You can't block the highway to a major airport. You just can't do it. You just can't do it. I don't care who you are. But anyways, not everybody's in their right mind these days. They're in California, almost in tandem it was this morning. Reports came of similar protests in California. Blocking things. You can't move. You got to pay attention to me. Stop your life because we got to stop the world. We stop the world for Gaza, reads the sign. Okay? A lot of things going on in the world. Okay, stop the world for Gaza. Okay, I get it. End the siege on Gaza. They're getting the point across. And almost in tandem, and I got to say, can I just say something? Remember when they were saying, paid protesters? What is that? Some Alex Jones off the deep end right-wing conspiracy nutso stuff? What are you talking about, paid protesters? What are you talking? Remember when they were saying that's crazy? But that's the most normal thing. That's the most known thing if you just have half a brain at all. That's the most normal known thing, that there are groups, activist organizations that come together. Sure, maybe their members are brainwashed and incensed by the topic, but that they get money and that dirty money flows. That money, foreign money flows. Don't even get me started. Look, that's the most normal thing in the world. These protests started kind of in tandem this morning after this weekend. It shouldn't be surprising, but it shouldn't be thought of as anything that deep. It's all political games. There's a war for your mind. Don't you get it? The American public, you're very, 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 in a sense, valuable currency. You know what I mean? I was reading something recently about how public, really media attention, just really the media, and not even so much legacy or public media, but things like Twitter, social media. And I was reading something about how it could very well be the biggest impact on these recent wars, Ukraine, Israel, is public attention and social media. I don't think that's unfounded when you look at, for example, even people like Chuck Schumer. Remember Chuck Schumer? He was, understandably, right? October 7th happened. You got to do what you got to do. Schumer, he's top level Democrat, but he also has wait, hold on. I want to get this right. Right. Okay. Yes, that's right. I just want to make sure, he's being Jewish and his support for Israel that he's talked about. And then that flip, really, in my opinion, and according to others, I think even Trump remarked on it, on how it's really these protesters in the left, the really radicalized left, the AOC, and even worse, what's that Somali woman? Ilhan Omar, and their kind of impact and gravity that they're exerting on the Democratic Party. You see, I really do think that's a fair notion, the media's effect on the wars. Duh, okay? I'm not saying anything that deep, but just saying that kind of set it all up, So that's the wars. They're protesting about it. They're protesting. And I see your calls. I saw some calls were coming in. 888-775-3773. You know about it because, well, it was a big strike, right? It was the big news over the weekend. Drone strikes from Iran. Crossing red lines, setting a new equation, as they are writing about now. Washington Post and others. First ever direct military attack on Israel, crossing old red lines. So the world's waiting, I guess, on a response here from Israel and all that, okay? unprecedented scope involving more than 300 drones. You know how so many of them were intercepted if you were listening to the Hake News this morning. I heard a little rumor. It's rumors, a little scuttle. Is it scuttlebutt? Is that rumor or is that something I shouldn't be saying? That some of this is really for show, something I heard. And when I think about some recent things, events in these wars, it might not be unfounded that the Muslim Iranian response is face-saving and they don't really want a war. They don't really want a big war. A big war against Israel. Some say they can't even defeat Israel, but definitely not against America. But they don't want to. They can't be looking weak or whatever when they are oppressing the Muslims in Palestine and all that stuff. These are the things I hear about it. I'm not too sure myself. Doesn't seem out of scope of possibilities. I think most people just don't want war. Especially, I think most, your average person. Even people in power. Look, hear me out for a second. I think there are pretty greedy people who stoke anger even for self-gain. That's war. But I'm reminded of how these relations between nations, how quickly they can sour, turn into war, and how really a lot of people in government are kind of, how do I put it? They're almost like just watching the train go, and they're like, yeah, I don't really want this, but the train's just going. The anger's already there. The bombs have been sent. The assassinations have been done. And so even face-saving retaliations. You know what I'm trying to say here? It's just maybe I'm just reading Patrick Buchanan again. Unnecessary war. It was unnecessary, don't you know? So many people tried to stop it, but the Europeans wanted to fight against each other. Anyways, we'll leave Patrick Buchanan for another time, maybe. Iran's attack on Israel. I mean, that's the story, This is widely blamed on Israel that targeted Iran's consulate in Syria earlier this month with support from the U.S. and other allies. Israel air defense system shot down 99% of the drones. We're hoping for de-escalations. I don't know about we. Obviously, the question of American involvement. You know me. I say, hey, you guys want to duke it out? Maybe I'm ignorant here, but it's your fight. And I would have done the same thing October 7th, right? Like Trump said. But that's y'all. Okay. So what else did I want to say about this? Prelude to World War III. You're seeing these reactions and headlines. CNBC. World leaders react to Iran's air attack. Apparently, there's many world leaders who are asking for calm. They're expressing deep concern for World War III. They're even calling it that. This is the prelude to a third world war. Let's not get too crazy or too scared. You got to appreciate people saying that, because maybe to some, maybe for those whose the law of the heart doesn't matter, maybe this will be enough to temper some things. It's not necessarily what's going to happen. It's just, if people say it, maybe it makes people think about it. You get that? Okay. World War III, they say. Trump, Iran. What do you say? Never, ever threaten the United States again, or you will suffer the consequences, the likes of which few throughout history have ever suffered before. We are no longer a country that will stand for your demented words of violence and death. Be cautious. That's a tweet from 2018. Trump, I guess, reposted that in a sense, a response to Iran. Strength. Rule by strength. There's something about that, okay? Peace and strength. It's not about involvement. It's not about who wins, but weakness leaves vacuums, and the world is an angry place. You get it. Iran don't want no smoke. Yeah. If there's a way to do that, Birdie Bound Brian, I'm no expert, but if there's a way, please. That makes sense to me. Can we uninvolve ourselves? Can we involve ourselves for a moment here, though, on something interesting that I happened upon? You might find this fascinating. A little bit about emotions, the mind, public opinion, shallow people, and even how Satan plays in his realm of the mind. Okay, you might like this. It has to do with the wars a little bit, and it has to do with the precipitating, I like that. Learned that recently. Precipitating causes of this war. Namely, some of these strikes, like Israel, like the Skim, the ladies at the Skim are saying, Iran's consulate in Syria. Now, if you don't know, you guys know about embassies, right? Embassies, it's like foreign soil. Iran's consulate got striked in Syria. Big deal. Hey, that's like you're fighting Iran. It's like, hey, you struck it in Iranian soil in Syria. It matters. Okay. It's an escalation. It's some of that. Whoa. Them's not the rules, which is a funny thing to say about war, but it is still it's still pertinent information. It is pertinent for war strategy and foreign policy, but we're not even getting into that. I'm trying to tell you about this very interesting Wikipedia article I came across. Another one of these so-called causes for this Iran retaliation is also this story of this aid kitchen. You know about this? Attack on this World Central Kitchen drone strikes. Hold up. No way. This is incredible. I think something changed. Let me start with this story because something changed even while I was putting this all together. So, okay, I'm trying to tell you about this Wikipedia article I came across, and it was titled this morning. Let me make sure. Let me see if I can give you some evidence as to that. I'm almost positive it was titled differently this morning, this Wikipedia article, and it's about this aid kitchen. Okay, the World Central Kitchen. It's a drone strike that occurred the 1st of April. Israeli drones targeted a 3-car convoy belonging to the World Central Kitchen in the Gaza Strip, killing 7 aid workers. The attack occurred despite the World Central Kitchen having coordinated their route with this. Okay, so those are the details. It's on the Wikipedia article. When I opened it this morning, I hope I'm not going crazy. Hold on. I think I can find evidence for this, that it was changed on this article. This morning when I was looking at this, it said World Central Kitchen Massacre. And I do see evidence of a conversation taking place amongst the moderators of this article about this. So I know that I'm not going crazy. I just want to see if they actually changed it. Because I'm telling you, it said it's World Central Kitchen Massacre. So let me pull this up. World Central Kitchen Massacre, which is now titled World Central Kitchen Drone Strike. And I found this pretty interesting for a number of reasons. So here we are on Wikipedia. And I go here in this talk section where the moderators are discussing various things, editing the article, information, sources, and titles. So you know about this drone strike. And it's significant, right? Because it was supposed to be like, these are kitchen workers, and there's details and this and that, what happened. And it shouldn't have happened. And so we go into talk. We go into the talk section of this. And here are I don't know what to call them. I don't know. They're just the editors of the article, okay? I know that anybody could be an editor, I believe. So the attack on the World Central Kitchen convoy. Let me duplicate this so I can read it on my screen. Hold on. But just so you know what I'm looking at here. They're basically discussing this. They're discussing this very topic and about a massacre, about it being called that, which is quite interesting. And a shout out to the Hake Report, who, put me on this whole section of Wikipedia in this whole thing. World Central Kitchen drone strikes changed to World Central Kitchen Massacre. And I think changed back. Look, requested move April 6th. It's down here. And I guess they changed it back, or maybe this is a request to change it to the massacre. But here it is. They're talking about it. And that's so funny. It's like, that's pretty quick. That's a pretty quick turnaround. Didn't it take, like, when was the Tulsa stuff? Tulsa was 1921. Like, it took them 80 years to set everything up to be able to call that and brainwash people into calling the Tulsa riot a race massacre. I'm just thinking, this is an incredible turnaround. Incredible turnaround on this. Look, this article's title is extensively close to the example given. I'm trying to read out what they're talking about. The present title amounts to lying to children. It is widely being referred to as a massacre in sources. Secondly, it is in line with precedent. So they're arguing that this is in line with other massacres, the Flower Massacre, the Kisufim Massacre, the Tel Aviv Central Bus Station Massacre. There is consensus among both pro-Israeli and anti-Israeli sources that the drone strikes amount to a massacre of aid workers. And I gotta say, my internal bells go off when I start hearing this language. Everybody's all incensed about the facts. But don't you know, Nick, they had Nakba and the Jews moved in. Well, I got facts for you. Europeans won World War II, the Allies, and them's the rules. They carved up the world the way they did. And they gave it to the Jews. Too bad, so sad. Fight about it. If you want to fight about it, that's a new fight. You know, I'm just saying, throwing facts around if we're going to throw facts around. I don't really take a side. I find it so fascinating when we get into these kinds of things, how people really have to overcome words. Like, let's just take it one step at a time. For example, you may not believe them, and I'm not saying I do, and I'm not saying I don't. I don't really care. But Israel says that was a mistake. Israel says that was not targeted. That was not how that was supposed to go down. Bibi apologized, I believe. But yeah, I did read for sure that Israel is saying we didn't mean to kill World Kitchen people. So how can you go around editing history already? That's a little too quick, don't you think? Calling it a massacre. It was the World Central Kitchen tragedy. It was the World Central Kitchen mistake. Do you see what I care more about here? You see, my point is more about the mind and how people are so easily used. Emotions. Don't you see this? World Central Kitchen Massacre. It's like, hold up. Just hold up 1 second. And so that's what kind of interests me. You guys know. You guys get that. That's what interests me. Words and how people are so shallow. Easily made emotional about, someone else's war. Someone else's war. At least with America, you had like 80 years of brainwashing, and there's racism, man. This is racism. And Tulsa was racist, and that was Black Wall Street, man. We used to have stuff before, and then they burned it down. Okay, the people in America had to do some work. They had to do some heavy lifting. They had to go through generations. They had to carry on the torch for them to call the Tulsa race riots, which is what it is, mutual combat, for them to call it and revise it into a race massacre. Okay, you get to do this in 3 days? Hold up. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. What are y'all saying? Anyways, it's the same playbook for everything, man. So true. Yeah. So anyways, look, I'll show you one more time if you're confused. They're at least discussing it. I know I'm not crazy. I swear I said I shouldn't swear. Maybe I shouldn't swear. But this was I remember it reading massacre. But, oh, look, here it is. It has been proposed in this section that World Central Kitchen drone strikes be renamed and moved to Central Kitchen Massacre. So at least I'm not telling you fake news there. I could have sworn they had already done it. But here it is. They're at least discussing it. And isn't that amazing? This is probably the same discussion, the same spirit that was trying to bring up the Tulsa race riots and discuss about that. It's probably the exact same spirit and the same motivation. You see what I'm saying? Let me get in the Wikipedia and change the title because it's a massacre. And you see how this playbook gets like written? Satan's playbook. Call it what you want. I don't know what to tell you. Communist. Naruto Love Hinata has concerns? Naruto Love Hinata? Wait, Naruto Love Hinata 5 has concerns over whether the World Central Kitchen drone strike should be a massacre? Let me listen to what Naruto Love Hinata 5 has to say about this. Anyways, maybe we should move on. Anyways. Build that wall. I don't disagree. Incredible. What a time to be alive. Are you confused by the username? I was reading the usernames that are editing the Wikipedia articles. Incredible. 888-775-3773. They want their wars, though. You want it, you got it. You want your war, you got it. The world is an angry place. Anyways, I think that's all I got to say about that. I think that's all what I have to say about that. But anyways, we're going to be keeping our eyes out this week because I got one very special lottery. I got a golden ticket. For one very special baller. We're going to keep our eyes out. I don't know how we're giving this ticket out, but one very lucky viewer will be a baller this Friday thanks to one very generous benefactor. He's in the chat. I don't want to say quite yet. Maybe we'll talk about it. Maybe we'll have a nice thing. I know you're there. You're hearing me, benefactor. Thanks to you, we will be granting one golden ticket to a baller this week. Sometime we'll keep our eyes open for that first class experience on Nick Stream Fridays. You don't want to miss it. Anchor Baby Airlines, I do appreciate it. But we have some super chatters today. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate it. Says, thanks for helping with my hell, Nick. You a real glizza. Hey, right on, Terry. Thank you for that. I'm just talking with y'all. So I appreciate that. And if you ever searching for help, go to Jesse. Okay. Carver says, I am the law. Appreciate that, Carver. Appreciate your super chat. And that's just a statement. I don't suggest you try and challenge this statement, whoever you are listening. But there it is. I am the law. Carver 531. Appreciate that. You know what I learned recently, Carver? I was going over some of the recent live chat replays from some of my past live streams. If you're listening, you can go and watch one of my past live streams, and you can actually see the recorded chat as it went live at the time. It's kind of fun. And appreciate the what's it called? The info on hooer and the other word, which I shouldn't say, especially not when the sun is out. Too bad I didn't see your chat during that episode, but anyways. Nice. No, Terry, it's always a pleasure, though I'm just messing around. Maybe you're not even talking to me. The super chat is appreciated, though. Thomas, this was a super chat I may have missed. In fact, I think there's a couple here that I may have missed on Friday. I do apologize. But Thomas, thank you for that super chat. Great show. Landing was a landing. And you know what, Thomas, it was, and I can't disagree with you on that. I appreciate it. Aries won with the super chat that I may have missed with a request And so I will honor this request this upcoming Friday, Aries 1. If you can hear me, do not fret, do not worry. I will honor this request. I don't care what anybody tells me. The request is, please turn the chemtrails up. I mean, unless someone unless someone beats your super chat, Aries 1, to tell me to turn the chemtrails off, the chemtrails will be on this Friday. Just so you know. All right, folks. Maybe you don't know. I'm in the mood of informing. You can. I have a podcast, Substack.com, AmericanAnchorBaby.substack.com. If you want to hear the podcast, I usually post it after the fact, after the show. If you ever want to catch up on some of these, you can listen to the podcast. I'm also on Spotify. And you know what? I've been meaning to. I've been mulling it over. Didn't know how I was going to do it. But I should just post the whole thing and not really make it too complicated. The Friday shows aren't usually... They've never podcasted. But you know what? I think I'm just going to add it to the podcast. The Friday flight shows. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll, I don't know, because there's a lot of silence and just music and stuff. So we'll figure it out, but we're going to add it to the podcast, okay? Appreciate everybody. Let's keep it pushing, keep it moving. What else do I want to say about this? I do want to say something about these stabbings. I want to get into it here. There was that church stabbing, but do you guys know any details about the other Sydney stabbing? Kind of fascinating. We'll definitely get into that. And your calls, if you'd like, 888-775-3773. What else? I feel like I wanted to say something about the Serbs. The Serbs. What did I want to say about the Serbians? I know I made a note here. I wish you could see my notes. I'm a psychopath. I'm a schizophrenic. I wrote, God is Serbian. I just know... I know I meant to say something, but hey, any Serbians in my chat, you guys know what I mean. Shout out. Bože Serb. What do I want to say to the Serbs? It's so like the Anchor Baby getting involved in national fights that have nothing to do with him. Kosovo will always be Serbia. Anyways, let's move on. I think it had to do with the world wars, something like that. Something about war and the West. You know what's amazing news about the war, if you're interested, though? Israel destroys Hezbollah building in eastern Lebanon. You know, this is for the people who are interested in strategy, strategic affairs, what's coming, and what are the people playing chess, meaning war. What are they thinking here? You might find this interesting. Israeli warplanes carried out an attack in Nabi Chit in the Baalbek district of eastern Lebanon. And it's like, what? I thought this was Iran. Why are they fighting Lebanon, Nick? It's so interesting. Destroying a 2-story building that reportedly belonged to Hezbollah. Hezbollah confirmed the incident. I heard something about this, and I think someone even mentioned it in my chat. I just wanted to present this bit of news, antiwar.com, and it basically confirms some of these speculations about the war. Will Israel fight Hezbollah? If you don't know, Hamas is the group that's with the Palestinians in Gaza. They call them terrorists and all that. Then there's Hezbollah. Hezbollah is in Lebanon, Syria, and they are a much bigger force backed by Iran. And some speculated, hey, Israel's not done. They want to fight Hezbollah. Meaning they could possibly bring in other countries and more war, etc. Israeli military said the site destroyed was a significant weapons manufactory. Right on is IDF. You got to get those. And that the attack was a response to dozens of rockets fired by Hezbollah against the occupied Golan Heights overnight. So we wish those Semites well. You know my brutish, clunky take. Europeans, please get it together and bring these Semites under control. Okay? Because they want to bomb each other. I like to Hake's take today. Can we let them have their... Everybody gets their NSIJ. Let them have their NSIJ. let's move on. Because I wanted to mention Sydney. Church stabbing. It's an angry place, right? Did anybody mention the alleged ethnicity or religion of the stabber in the Sydney, Australia church? I think I heard on Hake Report he left it as an I don't know. I'm leaving it as an I don't know, but I am reporting this from Elijah Schaefer, who shared this video, says, direct source says the Sydney attacker was Muslim. Pants still stained with blood. I speak with the man who pinned Bishop Mari's attacker to the ground. He tells me the attacker was saying, Allah Akbar. That's just according to the person. I'm just reporting some reports here, alleged news and all that. But what's this about? Okay, Sydney, church stabbing, you somewhat know a little bit. But this Bishop Mari, I believe. And they're saying it's a 15-year-old boy, apparently. He's a boy. He's nothing but a boy. 15-year-old boy has been arrested after a bishop and several churchgoers were stabbed during a sermon in Sydney. The incident happened on Monday evening at the Christ the Good Shepherd Church in the suburb of Wakeley. At least 4 people were stabbed, but police said none of the injuries were life-threatening. The incident triggered unrest as hundreds gathered outside the church, clashing with police, 2 of whom were injured. I saw videos. They're surrounding this church. They're saying 5,000 Christians go to defend this church. And, it's kind of a crazy video all surrounding the church. I don't know what to say. I heard someone saying this particular bishop has made commentary about Israel, I believe. They call him Zionist or anti-Zionist? Let's see what the BBC article says. The incident, vehicles were damaged. Witnesses said the people gathered were demanding for the attacker to be brought outside. They urged the public to keep the people away. Andrew Holland, Assistant Commissioner of New South Wales, Andrew Holland, said the 15-year-old suspect was being treated for wounds to his hand. He added he had been taken to a secure location. The stabbing comes days after 6 people were killed at a shopping mall in Sydney. We're going to get into that one. Details were interesting. There is no suggestion the 2 events are linked. The bishop attacked on Monday was named by local media as Mari Emmanuel. Ordained by the Assyrian Orthodox Church in 2011, he is seen as a popular and controversial figure. His sermons received millions of views on social media. There was so much anger because the bishop is loved by them. He's loved by myself as well. He preaches about the Lord, and we love the Lord, local residents said. But the bishop has had a turbulent relationship with the Assyrian church. Assyrian, is that like Syria? I don't know anything, apparently. Mesopotamians. I guess these are early people of God. You know what I mean? Them old world, early people of the book. Assyrian church reportedly being suspended for disobeying canons and forming a breakaway church. Okay, that's according to the BBC. He became a vocal opponent of COVID-19. He said this bishop said vaccines were futile. And that's the story. That's the story. Sources saying that. The guy's saying Allah Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Let me see if I could just show you the video quick that Elijah Schaefer shared on Twitter. Just for posterity. Boom. Here it is. Elijah Schaefer, direct source, says the Sydney attacker was Muslim.
Him from behind and just pushed him down. Look. All that's all his blood.
You're a fucking idiot. Varsi, you're a fucking idiot. You're gonna come.
Tell me what happened. Camera's not on you.
He was stabbing.
Oh!
He was stabbing?
Yeah.
He's a fucking idiot.
I didn't think it would show all that.
Wow.
Motherfucker. He kept saying Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
He was saying
Allah
that?
Akbar. He was saying that, asked the police officer or cameraman?
Wow, okay.
Yeah, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Okay, so that's the video. And that's the news. Crazy. I know the point was already being made, but don't Don't scoff. It's a good one. It's a people throw away basic things now. I notice a lot. But yeah, no gun laws. I mean, where's your knife laws now, et cetera, et cetera. You get me. Evil is evil. I think everybody knows that. Gun laws and blaming others for other crimes, like trying to spread blame around is not justice and not going to stop this stuff. Okay? Okay, so I wanted to really move on to this Sydney. They're calling it a massacre. Sydney massacre. Really, New York Post? Could you have waited? No, okay, I'm joking. This is a person with a knife who ran around killing people, innocent people. I think we could call that a massacre. I don't think that's propaganda. New York Post, Sydney massacre stabbing. Suspects chilling Google search before attack revealed. Okay. Now, if you don't know, there was a stabbing, another one. And what's significant is this person's life, what the father said, and their so-called diagnosis of schizophrenia. It's all quite fascinating. Mass murderer 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. Googled now, I don't know how to pronounce that. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎 Googled knives and how to kill before he stabbed 6 people to death at Bondi, Westfield on Saturday. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒑, a paranoid schizophrenic, had a fixation with killing and a fixation with knives, police reportedly told a Current Affair crime editor Simon Buddha. Initially, everyone thought this was a man suffering from schizophrenia whose mind has snapped. I have learned today that the investigators have been able to download data from his phone, which has indicated that he had a fixation. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate you caring about quality. Learned today that they found stuff on his phone that basically he's been thinking about killing. He's searching about it. Okay, so you're following. He ends up doing it, by the way. You get it. Spoiler alert. He takes a knife and he goes to the Bondi, Westfield, and he stabs the people. That's what he did. Okay, when asked, so here's why this is interesting to me. A couple of reasons. Because they're bringing up his search history. You see, there were signs. I'm just saying. There were signs, and he has this search history. He was fixated about knives. He was search about how to kill people, apparently. When asked if 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒑 was searching about killing on his phone, Buddha replied, "Yes, it is what I understand." It was also claimed that 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒑 was seen at 2 other Westfield shopping centers around Sydney, Penrith and Parramatta, leading investigators to question if he may have also been scoping those out for a possible attack. So he may have been obsessing about it, thinking about it, and there he is. And then he finally did it. It wasn't out of nowhere. There were signs. I was told he was spotted. Okay, that's what they're saying, the police. What was going through his mind? Was he checking out other locations that he may have decided appropriate for what he wanted to do? Was he just visiting? Who knows? These are the people speculating about this case. Buddha also said that 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒑, the killer, walked up behind 2 of his victims in the back, not speaking to them or looking at them before delivering the fatal blows. The first woman was lining up in a queue to buy a coffee. He came up behind her, stabbed her in the back, stabbed another woman in the back while not even looking at them. So that's the story going around on a rampage. 6 dead. Nasty stuff. Nasty way to go, too. With a knife, very personal. And it happens fast. Very deadly stuff. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒑 family. Here's what's crazy about this story. Here's what's quite interesting. Because he has a father who has been public about this story and his commentary on it, okay? So, let's get into this. 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒑's family. On Monday, 𝒂𝒐's father speculated that he had targeted women because he wanted a girlfriend and was frustrated out of his brain. Here's some interesting details to this, okay? Keep in mind the family, the signs, and the fault. Fascinating stuff, okay. So as you can see, he's an older individual, and he was shot dead by police. But he's an older individual. Okay, he's no kid. He ain't no kid no mo. How family learned their son was a killer, and I see your calls. Please, a little patience. 888-775-3773. 𝒂𝒐's family reportedly contacted authorities when they saw footage of the massacre on TV because they believed it was their son. 𝒂𝒐's parents are said to be supportive of the police officer who shot him dead at Westfield Bondi Junction after he used a knife to kill 6 people and injure 12 others. Speaking in Brisbane, Queensland Police Assistant Commissioner Roger Lowe said the 40 years old, had come into contact with police over the past 4 years due to mental health issues, but had no criminal record. So, you get it. You're following. Schizophrenic, mental health issues, couple run-ins with the cops. Nothing big, no big deal, no criminal record, just, in this very article, you'll learn he was living in his car, a little bit transient, schizophrenic. So far, we've learned he may have even wanted a girlfriend, 40 years old, 40, with a problem with it, with like a problem. Frustrated out of his brain, according to his dad. Mental health. So these are all the things, the things that people are saying. They're saying are the precipitating causes. Speaking of precipitating causes. His family have cooperated with police, telling them that Queensland-raised 𝒂𝒐 lived a drifting lifestyle and had intermittent contact with them. It's a difficult time to tell anyone they've lost their son, Assistant Commissioner said. Their first thoughts for us were to express their concerns regarding the family and victims of these crimes, and in particular, their thoughts around the police officer who had to bravely act in such a manner. Hey, at least they're not doing, oh, you killed my baby. I mean, that's probably rare, especially when you have a son that's 40 and been drifting on his own. You find out he's out killing. Probably for the best. Cop had to do what he had to do. 𝒂𝒐's family have reported their son was sleeping in a car and at a backpacker hostels. So interesting stuff. Here's where, let me break this down for you. Assistant Commissioner Lowe said Queensland Police last had contact with 𝒂𝒐 in December, but stressed there had been nothing to previously indicate the man could be capable of such horrific acts. How could you tell, right? Most people, you talk to them, I mean, they're crazy. The world is crazy. You probably talked to someone today. You got your coffee from that nice girl. She's like the nicest. She's like, nice. Hey, yeah, here's your coffee. She always gets your order right. Got a good head on her shoulders. But the other day she believed, I'm making this up. The other day she believed, the other day a coworker of hers looked at her a certain way and she, in her head, thought, oh, that look meant this. And she believed that. Pure insanity, off the deep end insanity. That's psychopathic killer insanity. And you talk to people like that every day. You listen to some of their shows. I mean, I'm just playing around. Look, you can't catch these things sometimes. Look, Keller's dad breakdown. Here's where it gets super interesting. The parents, specifically the dad, they were deeply torn by their son's actions. Deeply torn. Oh, wait. Okay. Speaking heart-wrenchingly to the media, his father, Andrew, said he was a beautiful boy who let himself down when he went off his medication. Mr. 𝒂𝒐 spoke of his pain and his heartache for families who lost their loved ones. I'm extremely sorry. I'm heartbroken for you, he wrote. This is so horrendous, I can't even explain it. I'm just devastated. I love my son. You see how parents talk even after a son of theirs may have committed a killing like this? This is how they speak. So it's not always that easy to be like, You should have done something. Mr. 𝒂𝒒𝒒 said his son had been diagnosed with schizophrenia when he was 17, had decided to come off his medication because he was feeling better. So he was 17, this now dead man who massacred these 6, stabbed them to death. He was 17 when they put him on this medication stuff. So it's been a whole lifetime of combating this crap. And then now he was saying he's better. He came off of it. And it's so interesting. The father sees that and thinks that was a mistake. The mistake was coming off the medication. And now, if you're hearing me at home thinking, I need to get off my medication, I'm not a doctor, okay? Mr. 𝒂𝒂𝒒𝒒 said his son had been diagnosed, okay? And look what the father said about this diagnosis of schizophrenia at 17. And by the way, how do you even get that diagnosis? I know it's easy to get diagnosed with ADHD and stuff like that. But I wonder about schizophrenia. I wouldn't put it past the medical community to be easily diagnosing people with that stuff too. You know, someone who's just always thinking people don't like them. I don't know. I just feel like people don't like me. Oh yeah, sorry, you're schizophrenic. You're believing voices in your head. I just wonder how easily or how difficult it is to get that diagnosis, right? Look at what the father said, though. I made myself a servant to my son when I found out he had a mental illness. I became his servant because I love that boy, he said. That is so interesting. He found out he had a mental illness. He became a servant. He let himself down, the father says. He was taken off medication because he was doing so well, but then he took off to Brisbane. So it looks like it's been a tumultuous time. It's been an up and down that journey. He's like, I'm better, Dad. He gets off the medication and then he goes off drifting on his own. The father says, you don't know how beautiful this boy was. There's no way. I did everything in my power to help my son. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do or say to bring back the dead. I'm loving a monster. To you, he's a monster, but to me, he was a very sick boy. So, I don't know what to say beyond some basic things that are obvious. I think it bears repeating. This is how parents are. Even their shooter, stabbing, massacring kid, they don't see a monster, but they see someone sick or something. What's obviously the tragic comedy is they're usually looking upon with sadness the very thing they themselves created and have a hard time admitting, but anyways. You see, this is how all parents feel. They're not a killer. I didn't know they were a killer. When asked why he thought his son had targeted women during the rampage, Mr. 𝒂𝒂𝒒𝒒 said he could understand why the NSW police believed that was his motive. So you know, they say he targeted women. There's a male that he killed. Although the male was... Nope. Too soon. Nope. Nope, we're not saying that. I'm loving a monster. What's he talking about? He's agreeing with the police that his motive was targeting women. And this is what the father said. He wanted a girlfriend, and he's got no social skills. And he was frustrated out of his brain. That is so interesting. 𝒂𝒂𝒒𝒒's mother, Michelle, said her son's actions were very out of character, despite his mental health battles. He was brought up in love, she said. He was a loved child, and he was under the care of his doctors for something like 18 years. He was taking his medication well, and then he asked the doctor to come down on the dose. Isn't that? And he did so over a period of years. I find this also interesting. The assumption that all parents have of raising their children in love, when really what they mean is they tried their best. But that doesn't necessarily mean love. I find many aspects of this story fascinating. The father he says he became a servant, and that didn't stop him. That did not stop your son from, in my opinion, adopting this voice and personality that he really adopted as a kid and just kept with him his whole life. That obsession. You know what I'm talking about, folks. Don't look at me like that. Don't act, look at this. Look at his face. Don't act like that. Look into those eyes and tell me you've never obsessed over something. Tell me you don't obsess over things. Tell me you're different from him. Tell me you don't obsess. Don't you know that it starts with a thought? All the things that you think you're so horrible for, that you're such a sinner for. Have you realized that it starts with a thought? You're thinking about it. Either you're thinking about not doing it, or you're thinking about doing it, or you're thinking about how to stop, or you're thinking about how to do it, or how to hide it, or how to do it one more time, or if I could just do it like this, or that insanity is the very same insanity. Come on, folks. You know what I'm talking about. And I just find many aspects fascinating. I don't know, the world wants to talk, people think I mean somebody, but I don't. I mean, the world wants to say we need to go into the people's, into their search histories and their past, because we need to preempt this. We need to know when I'm not saying there's no space for that. I'm a little worried about who would have that kind of power, though. Not really. The people in charge don't really care about the public. That being said, they say these are signs. I'm just saying, like, no one is really paying attention to the signs that really are the precipitating factors. People think this guy was searching, this guy was Googling killing and knives. Those are the signs. Those are the signs we have to pay attention to. And then they'll turn around and believe some rumor they heard, or think that someone's look meant something. There's no one paying attention. You know what I'm saying here? There's not justice, and no one's paying attention to the signs that really are the precipitating causes, which is in everybody. And you're thinking, whoa, that's actually really messed up. This guy searched that? Whoa, that's really messed up. They bought him a gun? Anyways, I guess I'm just rambling at this point, but schizophrenics, we got super chats here. I appreciate that. 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 says, death to America is political, but death to Palestine is genocide. Mason. I don't understand, Kale. Death to America is political. Palestine is genocide. I think I understand, Kale. I don't like how everybody, both sides, Republicans, literally everybody is so subject to words. They're so subject to words. They're like, if you don't call it the right thing, I'm mad. Also, I get to call it things. We're Palestinians, and it's a genocide because, I don't know, strategically expedient. And they're all doing it, Kale. Kale with another super chat says, I think real schizophrenia is when you don't just hear the voices in your head, but also with your ears. Actually, fascinating distinction. I would like to hear more about that. Is that a distinction made in the medical world or whatever? Are schizophrenics hearing things in their ears? You know what I mean? Anyways, I think we can go to calls now. Appreciate that, Kale. What's up, Oil Gas Analysis? How you doing over there in Rumble? It's a name I've never seen. Oil Gas Analysis. Very cool. Fascinating. Let's get to a call. We got George, Canada. You're on the air, sir. Appreciate it.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
All is well, sir.
Good. I was listening to you talk about the incident that happened earlier in Sydney.
Yes. Which one? There was two.
The one where the bishop was attacked inside of the church and
Correct.
was stabbed, unfortunately.
I'm following. Yes, the bishop who was stabbed.
Yeah. So he's like an Assyrian Chaldean bishop, right?
I don't know much about that. Oh, you said Assyrian. Yes, you're right. I read that. I actually just read that.
Yeah. So I actually found that really interesting. I thought it'd be my perfect time just to call in and talk about my culture and a little bit about our people. So
you're saying you're Assyrian or something? This is actually fascinating.
Yeah, I'm Assyrian. So both my parents were born in Iraq.
Is that different than Syrian? I'm so ignorant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is different. Syrian,
Okay.
with it, like starting with an S, is like a geographical location, and Assyrian is the religion of like the Iraqi Catholics.
Oh, interesting. Okay, Iraqi Catholics. You
Yeah,
know,
so there's
Go
a
ahead,
comment asking if like we're a part of like Mesopotamia and like Babylon. So like yeah, our people like really do date back all those like thousands of years. But just most importantly, tying in with our shows, like we're like Iraqi Catholics and we face like persecution and all that stuff. So we have like communities in Sydney, we have communities in Denmark, here in Toronto, Canada as well.
Toronto, nice. Hey, George.
Yeah, it's
Bosnia, Assyria, or Assyria, the Assyrians. Is there any connection? What am I talking about? Why do they? Why are the Bosnians? Why are the Bosnians Muslim? And they there's a connection there, or do you don't know what I'm talking about?
I'm not too sure about like Bosnian. That's like more like Balkan and that kind of stuff. But I mean, yeah, like we're originated in Iraq, but you know, like Catholics, we face like persecutions from Muslim and all that stuff. And then like a couple of years ago, when ISIS was like really popping up, you heard about them like destroying like these monuments and these archaeological sites in Mosul.
Mm-hmm.
So Mosul, like the Assyrians were like situated in northern Iraq. So that's where Mosul is located. So when like ISIS came by in Mosul and destroyed all those archaeological stuff, those are like Catholic historical items as well. So, but in terms of this attack, like it's really distressing just to see that they've attacked our community and stuff like that, because like we are displaced people, and like I'm calling you from Toronto, but I have cousins like all over the world, and we do. And it's kind of funny with like Jesse's show earlier when they were shouting like "Death to America" in like Michigan. We have like Assyrian Catholics there too, but like we're not like on the tip like that they are, where they want death and they want persecution. You know, Catholicism, we're forgiving.
When you say there are Assyrians in those areas, are those Assyrians like Catholics?
Yeah.
Oh,
so there's
interesting.
Assyrian and Chaldean. They're kind of the same thing. It's just like small like language differences.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
but they are Christians.
Yeah, we are Christians. So there are like the Catholics and Christianity in Iraq and stuff. But like I still have family that's there as well that we talk to. But like as I've mentioned, like we've been displaced due to like the persecution and all the terrible stuff that's been happening. And we do have like a large community here in Toronto. Like the name of the church was the Good Shepherd in Sydney, and we have a Good Shepherd church here in Toronto.
I used to volunteer at the Good Shepherd.
Yeah, I heard you mention one time.
Yeah, big time.
I heard you talk about Jane and Finch one time.
Yeah.
And I was born and raised in Jane and Finch my whole life. I'm actually calling you. I'm working right now close by to Jane and Finch. But yeah, it's on Finch and Signet, that church.
Slide on Jane. That's cool, man. No, I totally volunteered at the Good Shepherd. I learned how to do hospital corners there. Fascinating stuff. Can I ask you something? You said
for sure.
You said the Assyrians. You said what you described. You said they were a rootless, stateless people.
Ruthless, stateless.
I mean, they're displaced people.
Yeah, we are displaced.
And you said to see your community under attack. What were you saying about that?
It kind of hurts, you know, because
sorry, man. A little windy. Turn away from the wind. Turn away from the wind for this last moment, and then thanks.
Can you hear me better now?
Thank you for that. So yeah, you said you feel the attack on the Assyrians.
Yeah, it's kind of scary because like you heard like on Jesse's show like what they're shouting in Detroit, and then now you hear on the news like what's happening in Sydney. So you only start to wonder like when it's gonna happen next in Canada. You know what I mean?
Man, and Canada's changed so much, man. I remember.
Yeah, because like
growing up in Canada,
I don't have
different.
nothing wrong with them like bringing in immigrants and like stuff. Like that's our strength is diversity. But when you have this extremism that's going on, it's like very terrifying, to be honest.
But you know, Canada's changed so much.
It has.
You said
it's really changed for the worse.
For a lot, man. Do you even recognize it?
Well, honestly, brother, like growing up in Jane and Finch here my whole life.
When's the last time Go ahead. Growing up,
I also wanted you to call in to talk about how life is here and stuff, and you can relate to. But
when's the last time you've been to the Eaton Center?
I went to the Eaton Center a couple of years ago. Just the other day, I was at Yorkdale in like Vaughan
Oh,
Mills.
you were Yorkdale, Vaughan Mills? Okay. What did you notice at Yorkdale?
There's lots of like kids dressed as hooligans and like ski masks.
In groups,
yeah.
ski masks,
groups,
hooligans,
yeah. My
in
friend,
groups.
he works there, and he says he doesn't feel safe when he works there. And
That's every mall now. Eaton Center, Yorkdale. Look, and notice it's they're particularly brown, man. They're particularly Muslim. They're particularly not Canadian, man. And I get you're saying that it's like diversity is the strength, but I don't know. It's just I don't know where I'm seeing that. I don't see that. I don't quite see that personally.
Yeah, so just to clarify in the chat, Syria is a geographical location, and Assyrian/Chaldean is like Iraqi Catholics. And if you look into like we date back to like Mesopotamia and stuff, but we really care about that. We just know in our community we're Catholic. We help each other. Like my parents are really great people. They help people in our community that immigrate. So I just kind of like agree with like everything you guys do on the show, and I'm a big fan of Jesse. I've been following you guys for 4 years and stuff. So I really want.
Hey, no, it's no problem. I find this all very interesting. Hey, can you call me again? Call me again on this on some of this.
For sure. I've been really shy.
I want to talk
really
about
shy, but like
Toronto, and I want to talk about diversity and many things. Call me again.
Yeah,
man.
if you ever want to, like I said, I'm here. I'm right in the middle of Jane and Finch. I
Let's
was
go.
born and raised. I've seen it all. I'm a follower of the show. I love Jesse. I love all you guys. You guys
That's
are amazing.
awesome, man.
Love to the chat as well.
That means a lot. I appreciate my Canada connection. I love my Canada. Call me again, man. I'd love to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just prayers to the Assyrian and Chaldean community all over the world.
Yeah.
And
before I let you go, since I brought it up, I did bring it up and didn't quite finish this. Why are you feeling? Why are you feeling the attack of the Assyrians over there? Like, help me understand that feeling and what that feeling is like.
Because it's kind of weird because like they haven't talked about the attacker or like his motives, but we can already guess and we can already kind of assume what it's about. So it's just kind of weird that they would like, it's a targeted attack to like, as you know what I mean, like innocent people, you know what I mean, like we're really innocent, we're not involved in politics. Like I found out about this attack through like social media. Like he's really popular, he's like the most popular like bishop that there is out there. So he's kind of been like, it's kind of been scary that he's been made out to a target. Like imagine like the prime minister of the country gets assassinated. So these are like people that are affluent in your community and they're like making attacks. I don't really follow along with his message. Like my parents listen to him.
Yes.
But like it's kind of like I'm not sure he would like our people would say anything to condemn like Muslims or Islam, So
I understand. That's funny, man. You have a little bit of that Toronto patois like speak, Yeah,
absolutely, brother. Yeah.
Man, dog got me cheesed. No, man, they got me cheesed.
They got me.
But we're
mossing.
But we're mossed.
Like I don't know. Like my parents go to church. I don't know. Here, are they gonna do something here at the church here? I don't know, man.
Last thing. I'll let you go, man. Something I've noticed. And this goes for all people. Something I've noticed that religious groups do, especially people who identify with a group that is displaced and, so-called oppressed or has been historically targeted or whatever. People identifying with those suffer. They're not very happy. They're full of worry. They also assume what's in the hearts of other people. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying something I've noticed about people who identify with the plight of a displaced people. Just think about that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not something that I take as like a victim mentality, but it's like a part of my culture, and like that's where I take pride in my actions and what I do. Like I went to school to become a police officer and stuff. So when I think about my culture as going through, like I don't think of myself as a victim. I just think of like that's where I take my pride and my value, and I just try to put my best foot forward. So if you're like a visible minority or your people have been through something, don't feel like a victim. Just try to be like a good impression. I'm born here in Canada. I was raised here.
Nice.
I love Canada. I consider myself as a Canadian, but
fam.
Yeah,
Nice.
Everybody struggles with their cultural identity and that stuff,
Bear struggles. Right on, sir. Well, I appreciate your call, George. Can you call me again?
Yeah, much love, Nick. It's Jordan, by the way. And,
man, I keep saying your name
interesting-
wrong. It was written wrong.
No, it's
My
all good.
apologies.
It's all good, brother.
Jordan.
Any interesting topics, or if I see you talk about Jane and Finch or Toronto, I'll give you a call. Let you know
Please
how things
do.
are going.
Nice. Call me again. Very cool. Jordan, thank you. 888-775-3773. Bear victims. Bear victims, I lie. Okay. Wallahi. Anyways. Okay. What else do we got here? What else do we got? 888-775-3773. Hummus with a little bit of chips. Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Sydney church stabbings. Okay, let's move it here. We're done with that. You know about the Trump case. You know about all that. You even know a little bit about Serbia. What else did I have for you? Fascinating. Okay. Iraqi Catholics. That does sound cool, huh? Okay. Let's see what else. What else? I'm deciding. The disproportionate serial killers. This was actually interesting. This was quite interesting. Feminism, World War III. Look. The feminists are getting. They're getting what's it called? Clowned online. Sorry, feminists. World War III begins. Haha. LOL. Look at the feminists. Look at the feminists right away. Put on a dress. Put on an apron. Give me equality. I want everything. Oh my gosh. Men are evil. World War III begins. LOL, ladies. You know, it's a funny tweet. It's a funny tweet. I get it, film tweets. You got them. You got the feminists. I think you got them. I'm not taking that away from you, film tweets, the person who tweeted this. I'm not taking that away from you at all. I think you got them. I think you fairly got them. I don't know if that's accurate. You know, there's people in the comments. It's the women. There's women in the comments. But hear me out. Hear me out. I'm not just teaming up with them and feeling bad for the ladies. This is history. This is posterity. Okay. I don't know if that's exactly what happened during wartime. You see, wartime's not fun. Wartime's not fun for anybody. At least it wasn't before. I don't know about now. Modern war might be a little bit different. But definitely not the world wars. And I get it. The poster here is something we saw growing up in school. And it's like, cute. See, girls are tough. That's what this poster meant growing up for me. Oh, girls are tough. But it's actually a bit of history, right? It's that women went to work because the men were fighting and dying. Pretty major stuff. That didn't make them tough. It didn't make them into men. And I wonder if women back then, at least the majority, thought that this made them equal to men. Maybe some did. But this was just, war's a nasty thing. There's nothing, there's no tulips about it. This is we're just tiptoeing through the tulips, men will go fight and the women will just be women again. Yeah, I don't know. It's not even, no one knows if you survive these things. It's not a known thing. It's not a set in stone thing. I know I'm rambling, but these are the things on my mind. We could do it. Tell them, ladies, we need you. You're going to be, making our Patriot missile defense systems, but please don't mess that up. Because we need those. I guess Rosie the Riveter, I don't know, maybe they just had a hammer, and these ladies were just hammering away. It's a little bit more complex now. I'm just saying. Patriot missile defense systems and all, I'm just saying. But you can do it, ladies. I know I'm rambling. I'm having fun. I think I want to talk about serial killers a little bit. Considering, we talked about mental health and a couple of things here. On mental health, can I say this real quick? Because, that guy stabbed the 6 over there in Australia. And of course, they're saying schizophrenia. They're saying mental health and all that. But I've been thinking about this, about the medical community at large, and about a kind of basic conclusion with logic, and something that irks me. It's something that puts a huge shadow of doubt in the credibility of the medical community, especially when it comes to matters of the mind. And it's that they won't admit that they can't fix it. That's the thing that gets me about it. It's one thing to say, well, therapy, we have this drug, we have this therapy, we have this therapeutic, we have this method, we have this whatever. And these things have these effects and help these symptoms or whatever. But isn't there someone, what I'm trying to describe is this notion of, can you fix something? Isn't that a basic notion of the medical community? We're here because we want to help. We want to fix something. And look, modern science and medicine has allowed us to do just that on certain things. But wasn't there a time where society knew certain things just couldn't be fixed, even though maybe someday we could figure it out? And I see your calls coming in. A little patience, please. 888-775-3773. Wasn't there a time when society knew there were certain things you just can't fix? Maybe you can help them lower the symptoms, something. But the people were crazy. They had houses for these people, mental houses. They had places for these people. And I could be wrong. Maybe someone could inform the misinformed anchor baby. This is my impression of the whole thing. It sounds like people kind of went away from this conclusion that, as sad as it may be, there's just no helping them. We've tried lobotomizing them. We've tried electrocuting. Maybe they had strange methods. Maybe that puts an even bigger shadow of doubt to the medical community. I'll leave that one up to you, but it seems like to me like the very existence of a crazy house like that is the acceptance that you can't fix them, so you got to put them somewhere. And that's what gets me about this whole topic: mental health and depression and blah blah blah. This is what you have. This is for sure what you have, and this is how you treat it. But they won't admit they don't know how to treat it. Okay, fine. You don't want to go as far as the anchor baby and say you don't really know what it is, because you don't. You call it a chemical imbalance. You can't prove that. You call it this or that. You say they just don't have enough serotonin, so let's give them some serotonin. That's not fixing it. So you say all that. Fine. You don't want to go as far as the anchor baby and say you don't know what it is. You think you know what it is. At least say that. And don't tell people you, at least admit, hey, big disclaimer, this is what we've discovered about therapy and stuff, and we're trying our best here, but we cannot fix it. So just know that. We can't fix you, so, you're crazy. It's just something it's just this like notion I noticed, this spirit, I don't know how to call it, in the medical community. They're coping. It's a big cope. Like, we could fix them. You don't know what you're doing. You are 100% right, Nick. Bring back the crazy house. Thank you, Carver. It's pretty much what I'm saying. Bring back the crazy house. And instead of throwing it under the rug and sweeping it under the rug, they're not crazy. They're not crazy. They're just depressed. Just give them drugs and therapy. They're not crazy. No. They don't have serious spiritual issues. They're not crazy. They just have depression. They're just ADHD. No. Don't call them crazy. Instead of doing that, society, how about accept those that you can't fix, and then don't worry. Realize that when it gets there, it's already too late. That's way too late. There's something way higher up in the line here that is the precipitating factor, the precipitating cause. Let me throw a guess. The family, how you're raised, just a guess. But okay, the precipitating causes that may have happened up, farther up the line. It's a little too late at the stage you're at. Don't you see that, society? Anyways, who the heck am I talking to? Maybe a wall. Let me talk to a real person. Kevin out of New York. Appreciate your call, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, what's up, Nick?
All is well, sir. Go ahead.
Hey, it's great to talk to you again.
Yeah, for sure. Always.
Yeah, definitely. Since there was all this talk about World War III, I wanted to throw in my 2 cents about it. Have you ever heard of Albert Pike and his predictions?
I know a little bit about Albert Pike. You're talking about dogmas, no? Albert Pike, he wrote Ancient and Accepted the Morals and Dogma.
I actually don't know about that.
So you don't know. What you know about Pike? What you know about Albert Pike? This guy wrote basically This guy basically wrote the book on Freemasonry, and I actually don't even know what Freemasonry is. I just know he's the guy that wrote the book on it. I don't even know what the heck that means. But yeah, it's called Morals and Dogma. I just know a bit about him, the person, because I don't know. I've just read about crazy stuff. Go ahead. What do you want to talk about? My apologies.
No, it's all right. I know very little about him myself. The only thing I really know was that he was a Freemason, and around the time that he lived, he was born and died before the 1900s, and he made 3 predictions having to do with the 3 world wars. And in my opinion, he's actually predicted these so far with 100% accuracy, which I think is pretty interesting and a little disturbing as well. Obviously we've already been through World War I and II, and so if you read over his predictions, you got to wonder what he knew, and it kind of feeds towards my my thought. I know it feeds into conspiratorial type of thinking.
Well, let's not. Before we get there, we're all on the edge of our seats. What are the predictions? We're all on the edge of it. What you said, he got it right. What did he get right?
Well, he got right the details of what caused the wars. You know what I mean? I'm only paraphrasing it because I don't have it in front of me, and I only read it over very quickly.
Oh, okay.
Skimmed it over, but World War I, he said that it had something to do with overthrowing the Tsars of Russia. And,
oh wow!
Do
you think that's is that a correct assessment of World War I?
Only partly.
Yeah, partly, right? I mean, also take down Germany, maybe. But go on.
Well, yeah. It eventually led into that for his prediction for World War II. You know what I mean? But to try to really get to it instead of ranting about other things, his prediction about World War III says that it's going to be orchestrated in such a way to where it's going to be the political Zionists versus the leaders of the Islamic world. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to be in such a way to where the agenda is to mutually destroy both systems.
That's actually that sounds like an incredible prediction. I don't know what to say. You know what my take is on these predicting types and Nostradamus and that kind of stuff? I didn't want to cut you off though. Please go ahead. Finish what you were saying.
Oh yeah. I know it sounds really conspiratorial and everything, but Albert Pike, being born early 1800s, died around 1893 or something like that. Being so accurate with his predictions, and knowing that he was a high-ranking Freemason, his work carries on to today, and how you see the political workings of the UN and the globalist agendas out there. It goes a lot deeper into showing proof of other people and their work of how they said that there are secret societies running the world. To be more specific, satanic secret societies.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I'm following what you're saying. I wanted to ask about. What do you want to say? Quick. I wanted to ask you about what you think about his prediction and predictions like that. And I want to ask you something about that, but I'll cut you off.
Well, yeah, it's going to be orchestrated in such a way based on all of this information. You know what I mean? All the people who have researched these things, like Alex Jones, David Icke. You research the globalist agenda to such an extent, it's easy to predict what they're trying to do next.
Well, see, the thing about that, the prediction, if you think about it, it is pretty amazing. It's like, whoa, that is literally what's happening now. Albert Pike got it right. But hold on. I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying, I think this may be a case, and I think this is with a lot of these people who predict things and get things right. This is my opinion, and I'm not saying anything about you, by the way. Thank you for your call. Look, what I'm trying to say is, my take is that I don't know if some of these predictions are actually that difficult to even come up with. What I'm saying is, if you're like a person who's really into information and stuff, let me think for a second. Like, think about it. You said 1900, Albert Pike. When did he die?
1893, I think.
I mean, that's pretty much around the time. Isn't that pretty much around the time that the English were like, there were people in the English government. There were whispers of, there should be a Israel, and there should be a land for the people and all that. Like, that's not like this. That's not like a secret conspiracy. You see what I'm trying to say? That was a thing that people were talking about. So, do you see what I'm saying? I don't think it's that hard to see the writing on the wall if you were someone who was well learned. You know what I'm trying to say? The Jews and the Muslims do not like each other.
Oh yeah, I hear what you're saying. I left some information out too, because just like I told you, only in part what his World War III prediction is going to be political Zionism versus the Islamic world. Well, the result of that is that these two religions, Christianity and Islam, is going to be mutually destroyed. And out of that, he says in his predictions that the nihilists and the atheists will then feel like they have the moral high ground and actually rule the world from that point onward. Damn. And so we'll live under a dictatorial system based on that.
Yeah,
and
I'm not sure.
From that would be the formation of the one world government that the globalists talk about all the time.
Well, I appreciate the info, man. Like I said, it's kind of my take on it. I've always thought it was like, I think these people are, I think it's a combination of guests, of educated and uneducated, like uneducated guesses on grander things and educated guesses on recent events that I don't think, I wasn't alive back then. I'm just trying to say that I think some people just are privy to some information and they see the writing on the wall. So I guess you could call it a prediction, but, and like maybe even supernatural. I'm just rambling at this point. Hey, fascinating stuff, man. Kevin, any last thing you want to say before we move the wheels here?
Well, no, not at all. Thank you for listening. I know, I sometimes go back and listen to the whole show and stuff like that, and I realize my voice is really annoying.
Your
and
voice, you said?
And all that other stuff. So, I'm like, man, it's really bad. I've got a Ben Stein type of voice, and it's horrible.
You know what it is, I think? And this is a guess. This is a guess. This is not a guess, actually. This is an educated guess. Because this is an educated guess because you may be doing something that I have experience with. And so just smoke on this. You may be doing this like personality thing. Here's something I noticed after listening to my own show. I don't know. I'll do like I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I'm like doing a character and my voice will go up and down. Like I'm some kind of radio personality. Blah, 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 blah. Or I'll butt into a conversation while I'm trying to talk with someone and I'm butting in, and I'm not letting them speak, and it's a total personality. Maybe you're doing something like that. I don't know. Smoke on it.
Well, see, it's exactly
it's like a voice you put on.
Like,
it's a personality.
Well, yeah, but like I mean, with very little experience of that. I mean, I was in drama club when I was in high school and stuff like that, and even back then, people told me like, damn, Kevin, your voice is so monotone. You have to go up and down to keep the audience
just be
interested
yourself
in what you're saying, I guess. I'm sorry?
I'm just saying be yourself. I'm just saying be yourself. That sounds like a strategy to keep that sounds like a strategy to keep an audience interested in that. And maybe in a strategy that may work. But just be yourself. Hey, appreciate your call, Kevin.
Absolutely.
As always, call me again, sir.
Definitely. God bless. Have a good one, everyone.
Big time. We got Jaime, Minnesota. You're on the air, sir. Yo, Jaime.
Hey, how's it going, sir?
All is well. Appreciate your call, man. You're on the air.
That's good. Hey, that Albert Pike fella, did the last caller tell you that he had golden bangles?
No, he did not. Tell me about the bangles.
Supposedly, these bangles could summon Lucifer, and he would do that every once in a while.
Oh, yeah, every once in a while. I just shake my bangles. That's crazy, man. I've read weird things about some of these people. You know, I don't know, whatever you may think of, it's validity and all that, whatever you may think about that, they wrote about it. It takes a certain kind of person. I read about how, who was that famous occultist? The most famous one, Aleister Crowley. And how, I mean, he wrote about speaking with demons when he would do very nasty things.
Sure. And, you know, according to the ghost story, he got this information from Lucifer on how the world would go to that one world government. It was a plan. It wasn't a prophecy or anything.
It was a plan.
You know
Explain what you mean. No.
You know, when you got a plan, hey, this is how it's going to happen. This is how we're going to try and do it.
Oh, you're saying Albert Pike wasn't prophesying or predicting. He was saying this is what we want to do, and we're going to put it into plan. This is our plan. And who's we?
The Illuminati.
The Freemasons and all that stuff. I don't know anything about that stuff. Like, not really to that level. I think you're like me. I don't know if you disagree, and I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody who talks about this stuff. But look, I think you're like me. You just kind of you just gotta enjoy the thrill of the conspiracy.
Yeah, it's just according to the ghost story.
Yeah, the ghost story. I'm a little bit the same way. I like the ghost story, but I know that like evil is like in us. It's when we believe lies and think someone's look means something. That is Satan beyond Satan, more than any Illuminati.
You were talking before about the what's that medical procedure? You're talking about the electric
lobotomies.
Yeah, those worked 100% of the time. Did you know that?
That is funny. You know, I may have misspoken. I think you're. I think you're right. I think those were very effective.
Yeah,
in what they were, in what maybe can be debated in what they were, but they were actually very effective. I think you're right about this.
They were just supposedly unethical, which is a liberal word.
What do you mean?
Well, you took out a piece of somebody's brains.
That's true, and I've talked about lobotomies before, and how it was. I've talked about it in a different way, though. I mean, how the medical community saw lobotomies as such a effective and good thing. Yeah. But you know, they were effective in what? In what? And sure, making a someone, I don't know, like docile or something, but it did not fix them. It didn't fix them.
I want to say they used it mostly on women.
Oh yeah,
to calm them down.
They called it hysterical. That's why. That's why the feminists have a thing against that word.
Yeah, that could be it.
I don't know. They're not doing much to convince me otherwise.
But you know, I see these cop cam videos, and there's some hysterical women, and I talk with my wife, and we're like, "Hey, man, why aren't there any more mental institutions you could take these people to? Because the cops shouldn't be dealing with it."
I feel like a society that has those is at least a society that admits we'll try, maybe at least we'll try or whatever, but at least up till this point we do not know how to fix this issue.
Yeah, it would have been much better if that fella who stabbed those people was in a mental institution where they could take care of them, you know, and
or just keep him restrained. You know what I mean? Like at least not try and fix
him on his medication, because. From what I've seen in the movies, they didn't get a choice to go off the medications in those places. They were on them forever.
Yeah.
Which seems like a good idea to me.
Yeah, like I said, there's levels, I think, to it.
And would I like that to happen to me? No, I wouldn't. Of course not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at that point, it's not up to me anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, at some point, I don't know what it is, if it was in the water, if it was the mother, but at some point, they are a public charge. You know what I mean? At some point, it's a public thing. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Hey, what do you think about a bug out place?
Should we have a bug out place?
No, just for you. Do you think you'd ever buy a piece of land out there somewhere where nobody can get to you?
I'm still focusing on a bug out bike. Look, if you have the means, I don't know if people think that's crazy or something, but I'm the type of person that I think that's cozy. That's just cozy. I think turrets, barbed wire, locked passcodes, steel doors, that's all cozy to me. A bug out location?
Yeah, I don't know all about the turrets. That's a lot of money.
That's just how I would that's just how I would spend my money. You spend your money how you want, okay? But maybe when I get there, I'm dealing with bug out bike first.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably have to do it on the cheap.
But
put some pallets
look,
together.
I'm really not the type of person to be thinking about, oh my gosh, this crisis is gonna happen. Oh my God, I'm really not that kind of guy. Just being straight up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if I'm starting off, I'll start first with bug out bike. So I'm in a city, right? I want something small, something, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something small, get through traffic.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
You be good.
Right on, Jaime.
Okay.
Appreciate it, sir. Call me again. You bugging out? Huh? You prepped? Bunch of you preppers ain't done none of that spiritual preparing. I know I got a smug look on my face. I know I got a smug smile on my face because I said something cute. But that's how you say something cute. Okay? You preppers. I'm a prepper, but I ain't done none of that spiritual preparation. All right, folks, that's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We got more show for you tomorrow. That's Country Western Tuesday on the JLP show. Hake Report, Joel Friday on a Tuesday. And more American Anchor Baby at noon. You don't want to miss it. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Take care, folks. That's it from me. I'm checking real quick before we go. Some super chats. In fact, we do. Court Green, thank you for your super chat. Freemasonry is a secret cult. They hide from everybody. Wait, let me read. They hide from everybody, but work behind the scenes. Court Green, thank you for your super chat. Carver531 says, you are 100% right. I already read this. Bring back the crazy house. Thank you for the support. Everybody over there at Rumble, Mildew Grew, Brian, DJ 2020. I think that's everything. And the people who bought coffees, buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby. That's it from me, folks. Bye. Take care. See you tomorrow.